Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.
Worldwide. Everybody, welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Come on in here. I'm Paulette. I am the owner and founder of Brownstone Worldwide, where you're getting your news and information from right now. We're going to get right into it. Hey, Matthew, welcome. We're going to jump right into it, and we're going to give you news and information that you can use, because I got a ton of stuff to do today. The magazine for the month of March will be dropping soon, and we're really excited about that. It's Women's Month, and so every Women's Month we always go all out and provide information on women's health, women's money and finance, all of the things, the impacting of the releasing of DEI initiatives and so forth, all super important right now. And so what we're going to be doing is talking about that in the month of March. But for now, for those of you all who are new here, please know that you can always get your copy of Brownstone Living Magazine available right now in my Stand store. I'm going to actually share a copy of the magazine with you so that you can see it for yourself. If you are on TikTok or if you're on Facebook right now, you can always check it out and see for yourself. Here is the actual magazine itself. I'm going to share that with everybody that I'm live with right now. This is the actual magazine with Freddie Taylor. He is the CEO and founder of not Brownstone Living, but he is the CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals. Yes, so go ahead and get your copy. You can always go and flip through and see that. Isn't that cute? Look at that. How cool is that? So you can go ahead and take a look at all of the interviews and read the articles and check out some of the sales that are inside Brownstone Living Magazine. Once again, if you want your copy, you can always go to my Stand store and get a free copy of Brownstone Living Magazine. It's still flipping through the pages. Listen. So today, one of the things that we did this morning was on the day shift, we shared with you all some information that we thought was super important. And then we've added to that during this particular hour, where we're going to be talking about more news and information that you can use. Now, I know that if you are doing any kind of scrolling or anything, or reading the news or staying up to date, you are absolutely learning more and more and more about what is happening out here in the world. But did you know that there is an issue that is happening right now at the Bear Hill Correctional Facility right now? What is happening is New York State Police are actually responding to a situation where correctional officers are actually walking off the job. So visitations have been canceled. There's actually a prison strike that's going on right now. And the National Guard has actually been deployed to these specific areas. what is happening because of this is prisoners who are in the Bear Hill Correctional Facility, I hope I said that right, are literally not able to get any of the things that they normally get. Now, I know a lot of you are probably like, well, they inmates. What do they expect? Basic human decency. That's what they should expect. Okay. So inmates are alone. They're not being fed. Things that they normally would have gotten through their commissary and things of that nature, packages that have been delivered to them are spoiling, things like that. This has been going on now for 4 days. And I'm just now picking up on this in the news. So when we get more information about it, we're definitely going to be sharing it with you all, both on TikTok and on all of the other platforms as well. And the reason why this is so important is because y'all need to know what is happening out here in the world, okay? And not just what's happening right here in the US of A and with your current sitting administration and the craziness that's happening with that, but also the fact that a lot of people are just sick and tired and they are letting it be known. Okay. So please be aware that not that all hell is breaking loose, but people have finally had enough. So guards on strike at 25 state prisons. So there is actually something called a doomsday plan that has been activated and the National Guard has been deployed. So state officials in Albany enacted a doomsday plan in an attempt to manage spiraling chaos inside New York's prisons as a wildcat strike by guards that began at 2 facilities in Western New York spread across the state like wildfire this week. The fires have been lit. The list is growing. Amanda Correa, who described herself as a sergeant's wife, said in an early Tuesday morning Facebook post. At 5 a.m. this morning, she said, fires were lit in the parking lot of a closed gas station. Upstate Correctional Facility official joined the strike. Correctional officers from 25 state prisons are now on strike, according to the state agency that manages New York prisons. The Department of Corrections and Community Supervisors, or DOCCS, guards at Groveland and Lakeview Correctional Facilities previously joined the strike Monday, and guards from the medium security Bear Hill Correctional Facility in Franklin County and more joined the strike. Guards from Collins and more joined the strike as well. Now, what has happened on the inside is inmates are literally locked in. They have not been fed, according to the reports that we are receiving. And also they are being neglected. So if you have meds that you need and things of that nature, from what we are understanding and reports that are coming in, inmates are not receiving the things that they need. Okay. So when we get more information about that, we'll definitely be sharing it with you guys. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Come on in. If you are on any of the Facebook feeds that we're currently on, if you are a part of the stream, on YouTube or anything like that, we will definitely see it. So make sure that you are talking to us so we can hang out with you guys and let you know that we can definitely see you. So I just wanted to make sure that we shared that. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's happening with Walmart and with Target. Now, remember, a lot of you guys literally remember hearing about these boycotts when we first learned that a lot of these big box retailers were making a decision to not go forward with their DEI initiatives because of government pushback saying, hey, you know what? This is not what we stand for. And we want y'all to do something about it, or we're going to cut this, and this, right? And we were talking about multi-billion-dollar corporations. Of course, they have relationships with these major government entities. And so they had to make some decisions. And so a lot of them did, instead of pushing back like some companies have done, like Apple and like, let me see who else has said, nope, we're not going. And we already know, of course, that it is the one and only Costco that a lot of people are starting to shop more and more at, right? So Target has lost, you ready? $15.7 billion since ending its DEI initiative. That's a whole lot of money. That's a whole lot. That's a whole lot in my Terry K voice, right? When we look at the impact that you can have when you make a decision to stand for something, I'm just stir my water. When you stand for something, look at the impact that it can have. Now, because of that loss, of of course, you know that they're already experiencing more because a lot of people are like, I'm not going. I'm not going. Walmart just went through the same thing. Now they're not saying that it's because of that, and they actually said, we actually did an article on that this morning on brownstoneworldwide.com, where they talked about the loss that they're experiencing. And they're calling it slowing sales, y'all. They're calling it slowing sales. As prices for everyday items rise, more people have been shopping at Walmart. They're actually still the world's largest retailer and first major name to report quarterly figures. Since the holiday, they actually saw an increase, but as of recently, they have lower than anticipated full year sales to date. And it contends that, listen closely, they are contending that with an uncertain economic, unpredictable geopolitical landscape. What that sound like? That boycott. So they're starting to feel it. So they're saying tariffs were not factored into the guidance. So what they're saying is y'all, we starting to feel it too. So both Walmart and Target are experiencing a slump in their sales. So let's dig a little bit deeper and let's talk about this blackout that we've been hearing about. So when we talk about this blackout, we're hearing a lot of churches and other individuals all over social media that saying buyout day, do a no buy blackout day on February 28th, right? So of course, a lot of people in churches and so forth have been talking about it. And I'm going to find, let's see. I'm going to find it because it was pretty strong. It was pretty strong the way that he said it. But it's all over social media and you can actually see it's called the economic blackout, and consumers are actually supposed to get together and do an economic blackout on February 28th. And basically it's your major retailers. They're saying if you don't have to go out, don't buy nothing. Now, of course, if you have like, you know, things that you have to purchase or whatever, like meds and stuff like that, do what you do. But consumers are actually rallying to speak through their wallets or lack thereof through not spending money as a way to protest the retreat by some companies from diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and the current administration's actions to eliminate federal DEI programs since taking office. Now, they're calling on consumers to boycott specific retailers and for one day later this month to refrain from spending any money at all. Numerous social media accounts are sharing the message of a 24-hour consumer spending blackout planned for February 28th. Consumers are encouraged not to spend money in stores or online for the day. And if they have any emergencies or essentials they are, of course, encouraged to support local small business. I've been saying that for a long time because I'm a small business, right? And so what I encourage anybody to do, if there's a local small pharmacy and you can pick up your meds there without losing your major pharmacist or whatever, of course, you might want to do that. If you need to do anything prior to that day, go ahead and do that if it's not life threatening, because of course, people are not asking you to do that. But what this is saying is number one, we recognize that this is not the same era as those people who decided to boycott the buses, right? That was 381 days of boycotting, of walking, of ride sharing, of doing all of the things. And things are different now. Number one, let's just keep it 100. The resources are not the same. Black communities are not the same as they were back in the day when people were connected and more together. So it's a little bit different. So it's unclear which organization actually started this February 28th blackout campaign, but several Instagram posts by a group called the People's Union and its founder, who goes by the Instagram handle, the one called Jay, have been reshared and circulated about the one-day blackout. So for more information, most definitely, we're going to be sharing that a little bit later on with you guys so that you can see for yourself what's happening, right? So people have already started boycotting Bud Light, all the way from Bud Light to Target. There's others like Aldi and others that we are learning that are part of the fray now. And then we just recently learned that the CEO of Airbnb has decided that they will be joining Doge. And so there are people who have made decisions not to even work through the app anymore to get any type of Airbnb, especially during this time of the year where spring break is coming up, graduations are coming, things of that nature, and people are really going to miss out, especially those folks who use the app to rent out rooms or entire houses. So what we're looking at is people saying that's enough and protesting with their dollars. Okay. And more people literally are going to be doing that. Okay. The issue is that so many of us have made a decision that we good where we at. You know what I mean? So many of us have decided that it's okay for us to continue to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do for my household. And then, people stand on that. And unfortunately, it hurts the greater good for all of the people. And I definitely wanted to kind of share that with you all when you make that decision. So the first thing that I would do if I were you, and if you were living in a community like where I live, find your local businesses, find those local small businesses that need your dollars anyway to make sure that they're feeding their family. You may not have a media company like mine. You may actually have a dry cleaner. You may know of somebody who has a local grocery store. I know of one that is family owned, and I would prefer to spend my money there and have for a very, very long time. Now, I do frequent the local Food Depot if I have to literally go around the corner, but because I know of this other grocer who is family owned and they're a discount grocer, I do frequent them at least once per week. Okay. In terms of any kind of business printings or anything that I have to do, if it's anything large, then of course I'm not spending my money at Office Depot. I try my best. If I need anything done, I will use Minute Printer up the street. They're locally and family owned. A lot of the furniture that was purchased in this particular house was purchased from a local small business in the area. Some of the pieces were actually built for me, right? So like this butcher's block behind me was built for me. I have a couch table that was built for me, and I went to go pick it up when it was done. Right. So those are the things that I'm talking about. If you can keep from making any purchases from large retailers, definitely do that. And I say that from my heart, not because of any other reason, except for small businesses like mine. When I did have a store, which we shut down it's going on a year. It'll be a year in May. We shut it down last year because we realized that the amount of energy and monetary effort that we were putting into it just wasn't making sense for us anymore. But we sold things like microwaves and stoves, refrigerators. We sold things like household items. We sold the coffee makers and things of that nature. And what we would do is find a wholesaler, and we would go and pick those items up, and we would tag them as Brownstone Living and Essentials. Right. So a lot of the things that you see in my home literally were from my own store, like that coffee maker behind me. That wasn't purchased at a main store. It was purchased from my own stock, Brownstone Living and Essentials. Okay. So a lot of people can't say that they're able to do that, but I literally most everything in the house outside of like the dining room table and so forth came from Brownstone Living and Essentials. And we kept a lot of it when we shut the store down. So not upset about it at all, because again, I patronize my own business and we wrote it off as a loss. And you never know, we may actually reopen the store. Who knows? Right. So the next thing is we definitely want to make sure that we're talking about other things that are happening in the news. So let me go ahead and sip on this just a little bit, because I talked about this yesterday. And it was really interesting when I shared it with the folks yesterday, and this morning on the day shift when I went live and we talked about it briefly. We learned that yesterday your homeboy decided that he was going to call himself the king. Now, mind you, and I'll say it once and I'll say it again. The sad part is literally it was put on Instagram as well, on the White House Instagram account. And if you all have not figured it out by now, he is an antagonist and he loves to rub feathers and rub people the wrong way. And so a lot of times when you're seeing things like this, it's so that we can be distracted by the things that don't matter. You can call yourself a chicken. I don't care. Okay. You can literally call yourself a chicken and it wouldn't matter to me. The hard part, the sad part is that we are literally sitting here worried about what you're calling yourself when we know who you are, number one. And number two, the other thing is that we are literally at a point where there's so much happening behind the scenes, the signing of executive orders and swearing in of individuals who are going to be over this department or that department, or the fact that earlier today, the Trump administration let go of 240 more TSA employees. And if you think that that's not the tip of the iceberg, you are absolutely sadly mistaken. So it's going to continue. Now, according to my notes here, and some of the information that I was able to surmise, it was 240 that were let go today. And I'm highly surprised by that, especially with everything going on. So when we're talking about TSA, we're probably talking about the people that are working inside, but let's look it up because I've got it in my notes. And I want to make sure that I give you the correct information. All right. So he fires the heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and cuts key aviation safety advisory committee. I want you all to hear this. The Trump administration moved quickly to remake the Department of Homeland Security yesterday by firing the heads of Transportation Security Administration and Coast Guard before their terms are up, and eliminated all of the members of a key aviation security advisory group. Now, the administration policy changes drew the most attention at the Department of Homeland Security, but he is also making changes at the rest of the massive agency. Members of the Aviation Security Advisory Committee received a memo Tuesday saying that the department is eliminating the membership of all advisory committees as part of a commitment to eliminating the misuse of resources and ensuring that DHS activities prioritize our national security. The Aviation Security Committee, which was mandated by Congress after the 1988 Pan Am 103 bombing over Lockerbie, Scotland, will technically continue to exist, but it won't have any members to carry out the work of examining safety issues at airlines and airports. Before Tuesday, the group included representatives of all the key groups in the industry, including the airlines and major unions, as well as members of a group associated with the victims of the Pan Am 103 bombing. The vast majority of the group's recommendations were adopted over the years. Now, what does that mean? Stop and do the math. Why is he impacting and attacking so many people that are, one, a part of DHS and a part of the aviation industry? Y'all ever sat back and thought about that? Have you? I wonder why that is. I'm going to leave that alone. And I want you all to do some math yourself and try yourself to figure out exactly what the reason why is behind that. Because if you're moving all of these people out, somebody got to come in. Oh, be quiet now. But I want you all to put your thinking cap on and really, really think about that. Here's something else that you all need to know. Rebecca Marody, who was a fire captain in Los Angeles, was deemed as or called an inept. And let me say that not loosely, but supposedly she was called a DEI hire that should not have been hired because of what happened with the LA fires, like she had anything to do with it. However, because she happened to be a woman, that impacted her. And unfortunately, Rebecca Marody was found stabbed to death in her home. We ought to be tired. Are we tired yet? Are we tired yet? Probably not. Probably not. So listen, here's a couple of things that I want you all to check out as well. I will be sharing this. I want you all to check this out of what was said today in New York, or yesterday.
At 1:01 p.m. today, the U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end the congestion pricing program in the state of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. And we are not. We sure as hell are not going to start now.
You that people are sick and tired of the shenanigans. We should be about the business of running this country and not playing the tit for tat games that we are currently seeing. People are over it, absolutely over it. Now, let's check this out and find out what's actually happening with those folks that they don't know what to do with, who are being deported. What many of you all may not realize is that there have been people that have been watching and journaling for years what has happened to those people who have been deported. And as of recent, we have learned that a lot of these people don't have anywhere to go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the likes. Don't have anywhere to go. They're not sure what to do with these people. And so unfortunately, they are being taken to hotels that are being locked down. Where are these hotels, you ask? In Panama. Check this out. If you're on TikTok, you may not be able to see it, but you can always go over to YouTube and check it out. It is there. And it's also on Brownstone Worldwide. I'm live right now on both of these platforms, Facebook and also on YouTube under Brownstone Worldwide. Take a look at this.
You can see in this video, this is a family that's calling for help from this hotel where they're locked up. This woman is Artemis Qasimzadeh. She's a 27-year-old Iranian woman who fled Iran in search of a place to practice her religion freely. She converted to Christianity in Iran, which is punishable by death. Ms. Qasimzadeh is one of more than 100 other migrants from countries such as India, China, Uzbekistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan, currently locked in a hotel in Panama City, waiting for their next steps. They are under armed guard. Their movements are limited within the hotel. The Panamanian government is not allowing journalists to come inside the hotel and interview the migrants. We, however, were able to connect with some of these migrants, and they told us that they were being held against their will. This is all part of President Trump's sweeping immigration crackdown. Trump has already sent deportation flights to Colombia, Brazil, Mexico, and India. But this is a new front in that deportation campaign, sending migrants from countries across the globe to a country that is not of their own. For countries like Iran, Afghanistan, and elsewhere where there aren't formal relations between the United States and those countries, he can't send them to their home countries. So instead, he sent them to a country that is under tremendous pressure to appease him, in Panama.
We're trying to work a deal on the Panama Canal. We either want it back or we're going to get something very strong.
And now we see the Panamanian government is willing to take migrants from a country far away and help the Trump administration to crack down on immigration. I've been reporting on immigration for 8 years now, and we don't see things like this happen. Panama says they are following protocol.
Ambos países declaran y declaramos que continuaremos trabajando de manera coordinada para enfrentar este desafío.
But obviously the migrants have argued that these conditions are inhumane and unacceptable. You could sense their desperation, their anxiety, their fear, their inability to understand what was going to come next. We were told by migrants that there had been a suicide attempt of one of the migrants. The migrant tried to escape from the hotel. Because these migrants are not on American soil under American laws, there is no precedent for how they will be treated. But Panama is not the only country willing to take these deportees. Costa Rica has already announced this week that they are also willing to take in migrants from other countries. President Trump is bringing in other countries to create a deportation machine that he hopes will be efficient enough to carry out his mass crackdown.
Those of you all who missed that and you're on TikTok, you can always go ahead and check that out. I'm going to be sharing snippets of this a little bit later on my TikTok account. But what I also want you guys to know is that if you missed it, these people are being held and locked in hotels. And they're literally standing there at windows with signs saying, help us, please help, send help, help us. They're not being allowed to speak to anybody. No journalists have been allowed to talk to anyone at all. And these people are not from Panama City. These are people from all over that they honestly don't know where to send them. And so they are basically creating these camps to send these people. Doesn't this sound a little odd to you all? I want to be careful in the words that I'm choosing, but I want you all to stop and think about what exactly is happening right now. So if they're placing them in Panama City, Costa Rica has agreed to do the exact same thing and house these people. They are out of the jurisdiction of the US of A. So the way that they're being treated, what can be any way that this country wants to treat them. And guess who's not going to care, right? Now, if this journalist had not been doing this story, we would not be privy to this information. Our assumption would be, based on what we're seeing, is that they're putting people in chains. Oh, gosh, that just sent something through me. Putting people in chains. Now, I saw that video, and they called it ASMR. It is not. That is inhumane. And they're putting people in chains around their waist and their ankles and their wrists, and they're sending them off. And at the end of the day, it's got to be a better way. If we want people to be legal, make it easier to become legal. I'm not sure I want unmedicated people working on farms with tools and animals picking our food. Well, here's the thing. Right now, farms are literally losing tons of money because they don't have the staff or the people to do the work necessary to get food items to us. And of course, a lot of things were automated, but there were still some things that were handled by hand and could probably be best handled by hand. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to wind up. I honestly do not know. Now I have about 5 more minutes before I have to wrap it up, but I definitely wanted to come on here and share some information with you guys. Later on this afternoon, we're going to go ahead and start putting up that information that we share with you about the deals and coupons on Brownstone Worldwide. We're officially going to start posting some of that for you today. Since Sheena is just now getting back up to speed. So we're really excited to have her back in the office. She was celebrating her birthday. So we're glad she's back. So how can we as a family protect our loved ones? It's, what we can do is stay informed. That's the first thing. That's the first thing that we need to do, is make sure that we remain informed, and create. And I'm going to say it like this, but I'm going to take it back to something that my foster mother told me years ago. And I said this once before, I'll say it again. One of the things that I recall was asking her, what was the Great Depression like? My foster parents were both born in the 20s, 1920 to be exact. She was born in 20, he was born in 21. And they raised me from the time I was 5 months old until I was 17. So they were the only family that I knew, even though I knew my birth parents. And so I recall her saying to me, and this is to answer your question, really. She said, what depression? When I asked her about it, she said, what depression? What are you talking about? She was like, we didn't have a depression. That was their depression. It wasn't ours. We had our own grocery stores. We had our own places that we shopped and where we cooked and where we ate, because they didn't want us to be a part of what they had anyway. So we didn't know it was a depression until it was over. I am not saying that segregation was something to be proud of. What I am saying was that my people were not impacted the way that other people said that they were, because they weren't allowed to be a part of that. And basically what my foster mother was saying was we had a silo anyway. We had a silo anyway. We shopped local. We ate local. We bought everything local. Our money stayed in our community longer. We can't say that now. Especially Black folks, we can't say that. We can't say that. Now, according to the data that I have here, African Americans literally, now this is for Black folks now, I need y'all to hear me on this. We are the 12th largest wealth group in the world. And our money stays in our own communities for less than 6 hours. it immediately leaves our community because we so busy trying to be name brand everything. One of the hardest things that I've ever had to do was to sell to my own people. And I don't know why we're like that, but we are. But I encourage us all to be better when we shop, when we do the things that we need to do locally. When we are shopping locally, we are keeping money in the community. Find out where you need to do the majority of your shopping locally in your community so that money will stay locally instead of in the hands of big box retailers. The power is in your voice of your dollar. That's number one. And the power is understanding what's really happening. It's one thing to get emotional about what's happening, but it's another thing to be clear and to gain clarity and understanding about what is happening so you can make better decisions. Because I've said this before and I'll say it again. Ain't nobody coming to save you. Not near one of us. Like my mother used to say, not nary a one. So the best thing to do is to hunker down, buckle down, get you a garden, some canned goods and some other things, and be prepared. Be prepared because there is no telling what else is getting ready to happen. We have to be ready. We got to be ready for whatever it is. Even if we wake up and we find out that this is all just a bad dream. All right, folks, I'm out of here. So glad that you could join me for this quick rundown of tips, topics, and talk with you today. We're going to end today with our cute little song, Brownstone Worldwide. If you want more news and information that you can use and deals and coupons, head over to brownstoneworldwide.com today, as well as checking out Brownstone Living Magazine, the actual magazine, and it's a digital version that's available for you if you don't want the print version, and it is absolutely free. You can head over to my stand store above. If you are on any one of the platforms, you can check it out, or you can head over to brownstoneworldwide.com and you'll see the cover that is literally on the main page, and you can head over there and check it out. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. It's time for me to wrap it up and get ready to do something else, like give you more deals and coupons and news and stuff like that. Listen, 3 things that I always like to tell everybody before I end each Tips, Topics, and Talk show. 1, love your life. It is the only one that you have. 2, live your life to the fullest and embrace everything that is your life, because one day you won't be here. You might as well enjoy where you are and who you are. And lastly, breathe through every single moment. We'll see you around.
Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.